Ever since her mom took the job in Seattle, nothing had gone right for Haley Sparks. Like last night, her dad had suggested spaghetti for dinner, so she offered to cook. Easy. Except she'd gotten caught up in doing a crossword puzzle and let the pasta cook for a half hour and ended up with mush sketty instead. And now this. Haley groaned as she pulled a handful of damp laundry from the washer tub. Her new red University of Arizona sweatshirt had somehow gotten mixed into the laundry pile. She didn't really mind that her sheets and towels were now a cool shade of pink, but Dad was going to have a cow when he saw his underwear. She sorted through the tangle of washing, setting aside Dad's shorts and t-shirts. Maybe another cycle in bleach would make them snowy white again. Maybe he'd never notice. Maybe. Haley stuffed the sheets and towels into the dryer and turned it on. Back into the washer went the pink underwear, along with a generous dousing of bleach. As she started the machine again, she heard the phone ring. Hoping it was her mom calling and she could get some laundry tips, she headed into the kitchen. Dad picked up the phone. "Hi, Jake," he said. "What's up?" Haley flipped on the small TV on the counter, keeping it on mute so she could still listen in on the conversation. Most of the time when her Uncle Jake called, it was because he needed a favor, like borrowing money. So far, Dad didn't look too worried about hearing from his older brother. He was telling him about Mom's new job. "Cindy's in Seattle at KIRO," he said, shifting into his happy voice. "No, we're not moving. She's there, we're here. Everything is fine." Haley bristled. What a lie! Everything was not fine. Her mom, Cindy Sparks, was now the evening news anchor at a television station about 1,600 miles away. Seattle was a much bigger market than Tucson, Mom had explained when she was offered the job. More money, good for her career. But not good for me, Haley thought. She hated having her mother so far away. Her parents had insisted that this separation was only temporary, just to see how the new job went. Later, they'd decide if the whole family should move. Haley still worried. She'd seen how separation had often led to divorce in her friends' families, and she didn't want that to happen to hers. Dad peered over his glasses at Haley. "She's right here. Want to talk to her?" Haley reached for the phone, but then he waved her off. She sat down at the counter again and waited. Her dad turned toward the wall, mumbling a few uh-huhs and shaking his head. His back stiffened, and Haley sensed that Uncle Jake had made his pitch. "Can't you go to an employment agency?" he asked. Haley wished they had a speakerphone so she could hear both sides of the conversation. Whatever Jake wanted, her dad didn't sound sold on the idea. She twisted a strand of her curly brown hair, wondering what Jake had dreamed up now. "I don't know, Jake," said Dad. "Haley's just a kid." Haley looked up. "I am not just a kid," she thought, quickly untangling the knot she had made in her hair. "I'm 12, almost 13. As if reading her thoughts, Dad turned to her and smiled. "Of course, she's growing up faster than I'd like to admit." He paused. "Sure, she'd feel at home on the ranch," he continued. "We've been up there often enough. Of course, not since you remodeled." The ranch was the old homestead up in Sedona. Jake's last phone call had been to borrow money so he could fix up the main house and build some new cabins. Dad hadn't been real eager to lend him any money since Jake's other bright ideas had often flopped. But family is family, so in the end, he gave in. Dad was pacing now. "Well, if it's only for a week... Actually, this might solve a problem for me, too. I've got an assignment for the newspaper up on the Navajo reservation, and I didn't want to leave her home alone." Another pause.
could drop her off.